payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming.
Travis Wayne gets home. So, it's been a wild Mr. Toad's ride, as we had a Mormon who demonstrates that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is true by denying my existence, and thus proving that Tad Callister's claims to the truth of the Book of Mormon are true and not fallacious. Interesting. Especially since he was in denial that my brother was ordered by the church to silence me. It's usually around $2,000 to pay for a lawyer. I have the documents. I keep telling you this. The church has been trying to silence and assassinate me. I have the documents. I have the receipts. I know it's them. And yet, Mormons defend the church and own me by denial. And so Nelson, I called him out. Confess that you've been lying to Mormons, that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is lying and deceiving Mormons. And so he did. On the 21st, the Church News put out a whole messersplits of stuff. Had a video from the Church News, and Sarah, quoted from all 15 prophets and other leaders of the church about past conference talks. So not a family proclamation of Joseph Smith's second vision, nothing like that. And then Nelson. And he does. He confesses he lied. That it's not golden plates, it's gold plates. And in so making the confession, he then threatened Mormons that you're gonna die. Yay, the church is true, because they just threatened my life. And Mormons still are in denial. No, it can't be true. It's gotta be true. My spiritual witness said it's true. We're not like those FLDS church. No, you're worse. You're worse. See, Warren Jeffs didn't murder his people. He kicked them out. Nelson's gonna murder you. He said so himself. All the prophets have said it. You go to the temple. It's still the death penalty. Just because they took it away in 1991 doesn't mean it's not still there. And you have to pay tithing. That's what that Hinckley clip is all about, Mormons. Hinckley at the pulpit of conference confessed, yes, you have to pay tithing, but more specifically, in order to pay tithing, you get to go to the temple where you give loyalty oaths under the penalty of death to follow the covenant path. That's what Nelson means when he says follow the covenant path. He's gonna murder you. You have to sacrifice your life in sustaining and defending the church, regardless of the criminal actions they're involved in. And so the unknown man was doing just that. He was being loyal. He was an assassin for Nelson. And he failed. Again. Nelson's having a lot of hard times getting assassins to assassinate us. Me. Because 9/11 was the date. Oops. Oh, Nelson paid the Judas price with your tithing money, and they failed. Much like their humiliation with the bicentennial year. On the 22nd, they couldn't even keep it up on the main church news item. They had to go back to the previous big story of paying a corporation who supposedly helps refugees in whatever African country. I can't remember. Sudanese, maybe? That's not well, yeah, no, yeah, I can't remember. But, yeah, all the church does are business deals. They don't give charity. They claim that's for charity, but they give to a corporation. So, Gail Miller is known for the shelters, which are overloaded and dying and poisoned. Because a certain somebody was an inside reporter for 9 months. Thanks to the church. But Mormons just deny. Nope, didn't happen, Travis. You're lying. No evidence. You can't prove it. And I prove it. No, it's not real. Fake. That's not evidence. Fake. Fake. Sure, great. The church is going to murder you, and you want to deny that reality. Good job. I hope it helps when you're burning to death. And so there are main Axis powers in the world that are enemies to the United States. Well, technically 3 that the church is doing business with. Oh, Steve. And the church, in doing business with these enemy nations, are disrespecting them afterward. They're poking the bear, shall we say. And this is part of the plot to murder us. They have the power to murder Mormons. And the church is poking them after doing business with them. So let's begin with Putin. He's got his own theme song in Russia. It's on YouTube. It's actually pretty good. Pretty cool. Something to go running to. But KGB trained as an assassin. Though most of his earlier years were at a desk in East Berlin. But you can see that he still walks as a KGB assassin, because the way the gun, well, you gotta move with the gun being there. That's why he walks the way he does. And does photo ops with his shirt off. But the church did business with Putin. You remember that, right? It's been so long ago. It was the first conference of Nelson. His solemn assembly, he announces that he did business with Putin. A major city yet to be determined in Russia. Where is that temple? Well, they gave Putin money for a down payment on land, and we still don't have it. He's still fighting the war in Ukraine. Wonder where he got the money from. Mormon tithing? That's strange. Mormon tithing paid for the war in Ukraine. And all the hacking that Cozy Bear did to America, shutting down hospitals and government agencies. Even a Utah business was involved in it, tied it to them. And the Church of Jesus Christ, in case you don't know, owns and operates the government of Utah and all businesses therein. And if you are unaware of this, you don't live in Utah, do you? And so every business in Utah has to follow the orders of the church, or they'll destroy your life. Right, Todd? What happened to that $2,000? Did the lawyers give it back to you after all the work they did for you, which was in vain? Did they? Did they give it back to you, Todd? Did you have to go live with Daddy? And then claim that, well, my dad had a quadruple bypass surgery, so I gotta stay with him. Mom is dead, so I don't live in her basement. Right? Is that how it works, Todd? You're the nursemaid for Daddy. And so Putin, in case you didn't know, if you betray Putin, he will murder you. And so during COVID, we learned a lot about doctors being thrown out the window at the top floor. His famous one is poisoning his political opponent, who's locked up in prison for crimes running against Putin, was poisoned numerous times. And, the Ukraine war. There was the Wagner Group. The leader of the Wagner Group thought he'd form a coup against Putin, but stopped. What happened to him? Oh, right, Putin murdered him on his plane. Plane crash. Bye-bye. Thanks for not being loyal. You're dead now. Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is doing business with Putin. And if you betray him, he'll murder you. So what was that Bear's Ears thing again? Uranium, huh? For Putin? And we didn't give it to him? Interesting. John Huntsman Jr. sent to be the ambassador. And then isn't. Decides to run for governor, did he? What a dumbass. So yes, Putin, in case you didn't know, when you do business in Russia, Putin has to approve it. It's through another agency, but Putin has to approve everything for business in Russia. And so they get you compromised. They get you criminally dirty. If you want to do business in Russia, you have to become criminally dirty so that you now are their puppet. They now own you, so that if you betray them, bye-bye. So what was the compromise? What did Putin do to the church to get them criminally dirty? Well, Fox 13 News Utah's Max Roth, haven't heard from him in a long time. What's up with that, Fox? What's going on there? Is he still working for you? He covered that the church had received $32 billion through LLC companies that were formed after Orrin Porter Rockwell Hatch got the 2017 debt bill or tax bill or whatever it was passed in December. Rushed it through. Got it passed. And of course, you had to read it to find out that corporations like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can have LLC corporations and not report any of the funding of where it came from. Like enemy nations against the United States of America, funding terrorists around the world. Yeah, that's what Putin used it for. That's why the church forced Orrin Hatch to rush it through for Trump. Was it Trump? Or for the church? Whose bigger loyalty was Hatch? The church or Trump? Trump rewarded him with a medal. And so, yes. So, Putin, if you're listening, I hope you can find that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has betrayed you. Yeah, there's a company in Utah owned and operated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Every business is owned and operated by them. They are now supplying the new weapon to Ukraine. That's their business. Yay! We're all gonna die. Are we gonna be thrown out a window? Are we gonna die in a plane crash? Are we gonna be poisoned? Our government's already poisoning us through our air, land, and water. And so the next one. Shanghai! Yeah, China. Xi Jinping. Yay, the teddy bear. I understand he likes being referred to as a teddy bear. All of the people of China and Hong Kong just shower him with memes of him with a teddy bear. So I'm sure he loves being compared with a teddy bear. No anger or retaliation whatsoever for it. And so, what did happen with COVID? What are the origins? Was it a lab leak? Was it? China won't tell us. They refuse to let anybody investigate. And so Nelson finds out firsthand, yep, it's real, it's dangerous, it's deadly. And nope, threatens the government to reopen the state of Utah so that he can open up his church to get people back on their mission and back in the pulpits of conference. And at church. And he goes on for Thanksgiving that year, the healing power of Jesus, gratitude, that YouTube refuses to take down for medical misinformation. Because YouTube is the authority on all things truth, right? They know exactly who to ban and who not to ban, right? And so, yeah, what happened in that business meeting that we got a Shanghai temple out of, which was already an existing building that the church just converted into a temple when needed for those already living in China, and he had to explain that to us. Well, it had to do with COVID. The church sent China PPE through a Mormon who ran a business making PPE. Church forced him to hand it over to China. And China didn't need it, because what happened? Well, every single state in the Union went to China to place an order for PPE. And then Jared went to all the airports and confiscated the PPE, even Utah's. There's a video where Herbert went to the airport, check out the PPE. Yeah! They didn't show you that Jared pulled up and took it. This forced every single state to reorder PPE. They paid, they lost the money, just like my brother Todd. And so they were all trying to survive first to get PPE from other companies. And ours got dropped off at the Wyoming border for us to pick up. Isn't that great? Those who died that you're related to or know, Nelson's responsible. He knew the dangers and he refused to warn you. Plus, he also got served on little Lissa's birthday that year. And he was a little angry with that, I guess. And so, yeah, what has the church done to Xi Jinping to betray him? They haven't called him a teddy bear. Well, there's Hong Kong. It's now the People's Republic of China, Hong Kong. Because Xi used COVID as a weapon against Hong Kong. Oh, we got to shut you down because COVID. Test you and lock you up in your apartment. With military force, they rolled in and took over Hong Kong. It's now been taken over. Even though England gave it up that one year. But it was intended to be an independent state, whatever. And all of the press are gone. And so it's all China state press, all day, every day, or you die. That's the only news they can have now. There is no free press anymore in Hong Kong. It's the China news. But Xi keeps emphasizing that it's the People's Republic of China, Taiwan. But is it? Not officially, like Hong Kong is now. And so, Xi has been upset with anybody who doesn't acknowledge that Taiwan is China's. And have forced some famous people, celebrities and sports heroes, to conform and comply to China, or they don't get business contracts in China. Ooh, there's over 1 billion at least who live in China. And if they pay for your products in China, you get money from that. And so people chose money over the human atrocities that are going on in China. You know, like the Islamic group that are being held captive right next to the set of Disney's Mulan. And so you have people learning Chinese to apologize directly through social media. Right, John Cena? But Nelson gets up at the pulpit of conference and refuses to recognize Taiwan as China's. I wonder what will happen with that. Then we have Saudi Arabia. Yep, Saudi Arabia. Mohammed bin Salman, who locked up his whole family in the palace as part of the coup. I'm the decider now, Dad. That was a Bush joke. responsible for ordering the assassination of the Washington Post journalist and American Jamal Khashoggi, if I pronounced that right. Probably butchered it. They lured him into the embassy. They had machetes ready. They chopped up his body parts and dumped them in a barrel. I saw that in a Bad Boys movie. Yeah, Bad Boys 2, I believe. It's the drug guy. There's a whole bunch of scenes that I need to quote from that movie, but it's not coming to mind at the moment. But, yeah, exactly like Chad Daybell almost, except he buried the kids in the backyard after chopping up their bodies. And, DNA evidence of Valerie on the dead bodies chopped up. They did it together. Bonding as a new couple of adultery and murder. All for Jesus' second coming. But yeah. He ordered the assassination and had his body chopped up and put into a barrel. And so people were upset with the WWE. John Cena at least refused to go to that event. I think it was the Royal Rumble. Or was it WrestleMania? Can't remember now. But maybe it was the Royal Rumble back in 2017, and then WrestleMania after. I'm not sure. But, yeah, the church doing business with them too, through the Princess Jasmine bin Salman. I don't think that's her name. But Arabian Nights, Aladdin, Speechless is just an awesome song, but we've got a different song for the description below. Playing with the big boys now. And so, yeah, the church is doing business with Saudi Arabia through the princess. Church news. The princess came to the church, and we talked about how we're the same as Muslims. Really? Are we? Are we the same? Child bride polygamy? Are we the same? I guess we are. Nelson brought it back. He's ordered Mormons to practice polygamy in the law of chastity. How many of you are being obedient? If you're not obedient to the laws of the temple, you're going to be burned. Jesus is angry. You're using nicknames and not practicing polygamy, so you got to die. Yep. And so, how are we disrespecting an Islamic group? Yeah, the Book of Mormon. And so then there's been some others that we've dealt with. You know, there's Brazil and Venezuela and others around the world. But these are the main ones. You know, we dealt with Trump, you know, way back in 2017. He comes to visit Welfare Square, pushes a shopping cart for the first time in his life, and now he's in trouble. The church got him put in 2016, that election. Did you know that? Council for National Policy. And then the church betrayed him, stabbed him in the back. And now he's indicted for how many number of indictments? Already convicted as a sex rapist. And it was reinforced after defaming her afterward. And so, yeah, Trump is in jeopardy of going to prison thanks to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints betraying him. After all they did for him, it was a setup. You got punked, Trump. Yep, it's too bad that your army has been locked up too. Even one of them was a Mormon. That's interesting. And then there's Little Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un. The church has disrespected Kim Jong-un by not acknowledging his existence. He just wants attention. That's why he's got all these nuclear missiles that he's testing. That's all. He wants attention. He wants to be recognized as the god of the world, not just of his people. And Nelson's also making it worse because he's supporting South Korea. We now own and operate the government of South Korea, in case you missed that news story that I covered earlier this year. Got a Mormon on the Supreme Court in South Korea. So, yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in order to murder you, has been doing business deals to murder you with the hitmen of enemy nations to America, and then poking the bear by taunting them to get angry with us. So, have fun. The countdown begins.